Welcome to Knowledge, Science and Proof. This is a course for those of you who are interested in how science works and how mathematical tools create, shape and present knowledge about the world. This module builds a foundation into further study in philosophy of science, but also for a broader understanding of how science shapes social and political decision making. Once you have taken this class, you will be able to judge for yourself how science works, as well as what type of knowledge it delivers, and why it's not possible to always avoid all types of uncertainties in our everyday thinking and decision making. You'll also be able to contribute arguments to contemporary debates, tracking and challenging assumptions, and correcting short-handed versions of scientific knowledge presented in the media. Human knowledge is no solid rock of certainties. Even scientific knowledge is often limited to knowledge of probabilities. Every branch of science, from evolutionary theory, psychology, neuroscience, to quantum mechanics, makes extensive use of probability in some way or other. But probability theory also plays important roles in our everyday reasoning, decision-making, game-playing, and many other aspects of human interaction. So, what is probability? Roughly put, it is a mathematical term for the likelihood that something will occur, such as picking a green piece of candy from a bag of assorted colors. You use probability in daily life to make decisions when you don't know for sure what the outcome will be. Most of the time, you won't perform actual probability calculations, but you will use subjective probability to make judgment calls and determine the best course of action. Nearly every day you use probability to plan around the weather. Meteorologists can't predict exactly what the weather will be, so they use tools and instruments to determine the likelihood that it will rain, snow, or hail. You also use probability when you play board, card, or video games that involve luck or chance. You must weigh the odds of getting the card you need in poker or the secret weapons you need in a video game. That seems all nice and easy, but what will we be covering in this module? We will start with the basics of the mathematical theory of probability. This might seem a bit daunting for some of you, because there will be a bit of algebra, some diagrams, and formal language. But I want to emphasize that there are no technical prerequisites, no specific mathematical knowledge you need to have in advance for this module. This might sound strange, but this module is an introduction to probability theory for the humanities. So, our aim is to build everything from first principles. All the formal material will also be explained verbally from the ground up. There will also be plenty of opportunities for you to practice your understanding of the formal notions on simple probability problems. The presumption is that anyone who participates in the class and does the reading will be able to understand everything that we do. Then we will turn to philosophical debates surrounding the interpretation of probabilities. In some ways, this is where things will start getting tricky, but understanding the arguments for different interpretations is an ongoing challenge for everyone using them, be them scientists, science communicators, government advisors, philosophers, teachers. So, you will be active participants in the task of untangling these different ways to understand probabilities. And finally, we will explore some applications of probability theory in everyday and scientific reasoning. We will look at uses of probability in evolutionary theory, experimental psychology, epidemiology, and climate science. In addition to identifying how key probabilistic concepts and assumptions figure in these contexts, we'll also be thinking about the broader implications of relying on probabilistic knowledge in many areas of human interest, from basic science to state and private decision-making. So, the module is split in 3 parts. 3 weeks will go into the algebra of probability, 3 weeks into philosophical interpretations of probability, and 5 weeks of exciting applied philosophy of science, where we will see how we can use the foundational knowledge gathered in the first 2 parts of the module. Let's talk a little about expectations. What made you choose this module? What are you expecting to take away from it?
I want to find out whether learning probability theory can help me predict the future and get rich.
I heard that data science and machine learning are the future, and probability theory surely plays a role in those.
I want to understand how astrology and tarot cards work.
Okay, so I don't know about getting rich just after taking this one class, but I hope that in the medium and long term, you will all find jobs that are meaningful and fulfilling and pay good money. Now to your other expectations. While discussing some applications of probability theory to everyday thinking and basic science, we should be covering some ground to satisfy your curiosities about the assumptions behind the big promises of data science and machine learning. Similarly, we should be able to think how probabilistic knowledge figures in the decisions taken by policymakers and governments, and in the same context, we will debate the different types of uncertainties that we need to juggle on an everyday basis as free citizens. So some of your expectations will be met. I don't know about tarot cards, haven't thought about how they work before, but perhaps we can do that in class together. And sure, bring a healthy dose of skepticism to class, as long as you also keep your open mind and be prepared to be surprised by what lies behind many widespread certainties. See you soon at UEA.